right, so here we are with lesson 2, CC now, day 2 of this. Remember, we're combining variable terms that match, so they have the same letter. Let's add that in, same letter. Combine variable terms that match, they have the same letter. Then combine the regular old numbers, the constants. Just today we're looking at fractions, so let's remember our fraction rules. So basically we're going to be adding and subtracting. So remember, with fractions, that means we need to make common denominators. So in this example, I see x's are our letters, our variables are the x's. So we're going to take off those coefficients. So I see 5/9 x and I see a negative 1/3 x. And so we're going to take those coefficients off and we're going to add those together over here. Remember, that is 5/9 minus 1/3, or in other words, add the opposite. So 5/9 plus negative 1/3 is what we're going to be working with. So the bigger number here is the 9. Can I get to 9 from 3? Yep, sure can. And so let's make that common denominator 9. This one doesn't have to change. It's still 5/9. But this one, to get to 9 from 3, we're going to multiply by 3. Whatever we do to the bottom, we have to match up top. So negative 1 times 3 would give me negative 3 up here. Now we can combine those together, be the same, stay the same. Those denominators are 9s. And 5 plus negative 3 is going to give me positive 2. All right, so we get 2/9. So our coefficients, when we combine those together, we're going to get 2/9 x. All right, there's our variable term. Now on to our regular old constants, our regular old numbers. So we have positive 1/2, does not have a letter, and the other one is positive 1/4. So I'm going to take those constants and write them separate over here in my side work. 1/2 plus 1/4. At least these are pretty easy fractions. We can see we can turn that 2 into a 4 by multiplying by 2. And so that's going to become 2/4 plus 1/4, and that'll give me 3/4. All right, so that means over here, my regular old constant is going to be a positive 3/4. Can I do anything else to this? Well, no, because we have a variable term and a constant. We can't combine those together. Remember, the coefficient here would be 2/9, the variable term would be 2/9 x, and the constant would be 3/4. All right, let's look at another one. This is going to be nice short notes again today. 9/11 w plus 1/2 w. All right, so we've got w's this time. There's our w's. Those don't have them. Sorry, guys, you're getting left out. So we're going to combine the coefficients on the w's. So that means I need to combine 9/11, and 1/2. Just pull those coefficients off so we can combine them together. All right, this time numbers aren't as easy, but they're still pretty simple. Bigger numbers, 11. We can't get to 11 from 2, but 11 times 2 would be 22, so we can get to that. So let's make the denominator 22 on both of these. That means I take 11 and multiply by 2. So that's going to make this 18 22nds. To get to 22 from 2, I multiplied by 11, and so that makes this one 11 22nds. All right, so that means when I combine these together, we have the common denominator, and 18 plus 11 is going to be 29, which I'm going to rewrite as a mixed number. How many 22s can I take out of 29? Well, I can take out one group. I would just have 7 left over. All right, so that's my coefficient for my w's. And if you want to label all of this, you could label this section the w section, because that was where we were combining all of our w coefficients. And so what did we get? We got 1 and 7 22nds. So right here I'm going to write 1 and 7 22nds next to w, because those are being multiplied by w. Now we combine our regular old constants over here, 3/4 and negative 1/5. So down here, I'm going to write the constants, 3/4 minus 1/5. And remember, minus really means add the opposite, so it really is plus negative 1/5. To get a common denominator here, I'm just going to multiply these by each other, because the next common multiple would be 20. And so to get there from the 5, we're going to multiply. To get there from the 4, we're going to multiply by 5. So that means the denominator is going to be 20 and the numerator is going to be 15. Plus, over here, we're going to get to 20 by multiplying by 4, top and bottom. And so up top, I'm going to have negative 4 over 20. All right, now we just combine those together, and 15 plus -4, or in other words, 15 minus 4 is 11. And our common denominator is 20. And so if you want to, you could always chunk that section and call that the numbers or the constants. That's the same thing. But here we go. It's 11/20ths. And so we got positive 11/20ths. Now, can I do anything else at this point? Well, no, because this one has a W and that one doesn't. And so this would be our answer. All right, last one. Ooh, we have a couple more terms, but that's okay. We're only 5 minutes in, and this is our last example today. So let's look at the W's. So I've got some variable terms. Let's label it this time. I kind of liked labeling it up there. So let's look at our side work. I'm going to split this side work in half, and I'm going to look at the variable terms, separate from my constants, because that's really what we're doing anyway. And the variable that we're going to use here is W. So I'm going to write W in parentheses underneath that so I remember what the letter was. And then under constants, I'll write the number symbol. That's not a hashtag, by the way. That's a number symbol. But let's go ahead and look over at our expression so we can see what numbers are in front of the W's. So let's look over here. It looks like I've got a -1/4. So I'm going to pull off that coefficient. -1/4. It's right there. And then the other one that's in front of the W is a positive 2/3. So that's what we need to combine. Any other W's in here? Looking, and no. So it looks like we're just going to be combining -1/4 with positive 2/3. So I'm going to do that work over here. Now the bigger number here is 4. 4 I can't get to from 3. 4 times 2 is 8. I can't get to 8 from 3. 4 times 3 is what I'm going to have to do, and so that means we're going to use 12ths. So we'll use 12ths for both of these. To get to 12 from 4, we multiply by 3, top and bottom, and so this is going to become -3/12. To get to 12 from 3, I'm going to multiply by 4, bottom and top, and so that's going to be 8/12. Now that they're all 12ths, we combine those together. -3 plus 8 is really like 8 minus 3, and so that's going to give me 5 left over. I had more positives. So I have 5/12. So my variable term with the W has the coefficient 5/12. So I'm going to write 5/12 W. That was my W. Now to move on to my regular old constants, I'm going to circle them. So we've got a positive 3/5. I'll write that over here. We have 3/5. Then we have a -1/4, so -1/4. And then we have a positive 1/5. Oh, you can't even see that. There it is. We had a positive 3/5, a -1/4, and a positive 1/5. So I'm going to copy down. My last one was a positive 1/5. I see a minus, so I'm going to go ahead and add the opposite. There. Now it's set up. So I can't add them the way they are because they don't have common denominators, but at least 2 of them are the same. So I've got a 5, a 4, and another 5. So let's see. The 5s times 2 would be 10, can't get there yet. Times 3 would be 15, can't get there yet. Times 4, though, would be 20, and that would be the only one that would be in common for all of these. So I'm going to go ahead and write 20ths down here. To get to 20 from 5, I'm going to multiply by 4, bottom and top. So that's going to make this one 12/20ths. To get to 20 from 4, I need to multiply by 5, bottom and top. So that one's going to be -5/20ths. And to get to 20 again from 5, it's times 4, bottom and top. And so that's going to make this one 4/20ths. Now that they all have the common denominator 20, I can just go ahead and add all those up. 12 minus 5 is 7, and 7 plus 4 would be 11. All right, so there we are. 11/20ths would be our constant, and so we would add 11/20ths right here because we had more positives than negatives. And so that would be our answer right there. We cannot do any more because this has a letter and that one doesn't. And so that's our answer. Our coefficient is 5/12, our variable term is 5/12 W, and our constant over here is 11/20ths. All right, so that is it today. That is combining like terms when we have fractions. Do your exit ticket as soon as you can and get to the homework. Make sure to ask me questions if you have them. Good luck. Yay, math.